commonly known as the Shakahola massacre.
Put your hands together and make me welcome the Speaker of the Senate of Kenya, Right Honorable Amason Kingi. Come on.
But the leadership and to the citizenry as to what extent can we take the right to religion or belief. Let me take this opportunity first to congratulate all of you for dedicating your time to deliberate on this important subject matter, promote and protect the right to freedom of religion or belief, and indeed all other human rights. The theme and the structure of the conference that sought to link freedom of religion or belief and sustainable development goals, on the other hand, and the delivery of participants drawn from various sectors and jurisdictions, indeed lived up to the conference rallying call, leave no one behind. Our country has been grappling with delicate and pertinent questions on matters of faith and religion, which has seen it grab global media headlines. I don't think there's anybody in this world who has not come across the news of souls being lost in the name of religion in this country. Now, this country is divided into 47 counties. I come from a county called Kilifi County, and that is where these atrocities actually were committed. I had an opportunity to go back home just to go on a fact-finding mission to see the extent of these atrocities. And what I saw is truly disturbing. But the question and all that you hear is that all that was done in the name of religion. And therefore this conference, and I believe the Nairobi Declaration, will be able to help us as a country, as a world, to know to what extent can we have these freedoms enjoyed. What is religion? What is belief? If I believe that by sacrificing human beings, I'm pleasing a higher God, should I therefore say I shouldn't be touched because I'm exercising my right to religion? If my belief of religion will bring hurt to humanity, should I be allowed to exercise that freedom of religion? In the current case of Kenya, the victims, most of them were women and children. A child under 18 years is deemed under our law as incapable of making independent and binding decisions. But if I believe that by hurting that child, I'm edging closer and closer to God, should I be allowed to exercise that freedom of religion? Should I be given protection when I'm exercising that freedom of religion? Hard questions you've grappled with, and I believe through the Nairobi Declaration, we should be able, as a country, as a world, to pick a number of issues contained in that declaration to help us move forward and to navigate this very dicey situation. Indeed, there is no right, there is no freedom that is better than the other. In the Kenyan context, these freedoms are actually enshrined in our constitution. The Kenyan 2010 Constitution gives a buffet of freedoms to its citizens. And one of them is the freedom of religion and belief. And for many years as a country, we have assumed that those who are given these freedoms will also be responsible enough to exercise them in a manner that does not hurt other people. But today Kenya is beginning to think otherwise. And that's why His Excellency the President, Dr. William Ruto, pursuant to the happenings of the recent times, he's in the process of forming a judicial commission of inquiry so that we understand what went wrong. Because as a country, we believe in freedom of religion. We believe, and we still do believe, in freedom to worship, whatever. But now when it hurts third parties, as a government, we stay back and watch and say these people are exercising their freedom of religion. Or as a government, is there something that can be done by governments across this world to make sure that as we exercise our freedom of religion, we exercise that freedom without necessarily encroaching on the freedom of others? And I believe the 2 days you've been here, you have been able to give answers to those very hard questions. As a Senate, once we were faced with this situation, the Senate of the Republic of Kenya, in its wisdom, passed a resolution to form an ad hoc committee that will probe the happenings of what you've been hearing about this country, commonly known as the Shakahola massacre. And now the Senate did that because one, it wants to understand what happened so that it can put it in the context of freedom of religion. And ask itself the question as to what extent can humanity be allowed to exercise this freedom? And either is the will beneath for the Senate to legislate or recommend administrative regulations as far as the right of freedom to religion goes. So this particular conference has come at a time, at the opportune moment. I know the organizers of this conference had no idea. In fact, at the time they were choosing to come to Nairobi, the Shakahola massacre had not happened. And therefore for me, as the Speaker of the Senate, and as a son of this country, I'll be looking forward to reading in detail the Nairobi Declaration, because I believe that will be the starting point. I know as you're deliberating here for the last 2 days, you had the Shakahola case as a case study as you're deliberating. And I believe your recommendations should be able to not just help Kenya going forward, but the globe insofar as matters of freedom of religion or belief are concerned. If I'm to give you statistics, for example, over 110 Kenyans, a good number of them children, have died in what is suspected to be a result of religious radicalization and doomsday cult teachings. And that's why we need to define religion. Do we just say because there's a freedom of belief? If I believe, if my belief is that I can be able to sacrifice human beings, am I protected under the UN Charter, under the different constitutions in different jurisdictions? To what extent can we limit? One is, are we able to limit the freedom of religion or belief? If we can do that, to what extent? Is it absolute? Or looking at what is happening in Kenya and across the globe? Because radicalization did not just start with what we are witnessing in Kenya. Radicalization has been there for many, many years in the name of religion. To what extent then can someone hide behind this veil, this right called freedom of religion or belief, and say you cannot touch me because under the UN Charter, under the Constitution of Country X, I am shielded and I have absolute freedom to exercise whichever religion and to believe in whatever belief. So these are the heavy questions, and I believe this conference will help us as a country as we seek very tough questions, as we face tough questions. We believe we can be able to use your Nairobi Declaration to come up with a better way forward, where indeed those who are willing to exercise this freedom of religion do not proceed to abuse the very freedom that is given to us by the different constitutions. Now, as a student of law, I was taught about freedoms and rights, but I was also taught the extent to which these freedoms and rights can be enjoyed. However, one of the most dicey freedoms that most governments find it difficult to legislate or to regulate is the right and the freedom to religion. The other rights, it becomes pretty plain on how government can be able to implement and regulate. But the right to religion and belief is one of the most difficult rights when it comes to government regulation. Immediately you move to regulate matters of faith. Most governments have faced a lot of resistance that you cannot regulate faith. You cannot tell me what to believe. What I believe is what I believe, and you cannot regulate it. But now, in the context of what is happening, not just in this country, but the radicalization that we've seen across the world, I think time has come for the world to sit together and address this particular issue. To what extent can we enjoy our freedom of religion? Is there room for us as governments to move it and say yes, in as much as it is a fundamental right given to you under the Constitution, However, in exercising that freedom, do not step on the toes of others. Do not hurt humanity. If governments have to do that, will government be said to be overstepping their mandate as far as the freedom of religion is concerned? You know, matters of faith become extremely delicate because sometimes you can define faith in many ways. But a friend of mine told me one thing one day. He told me faith is when your reasoning stops. When you cannot be able to explain something logically, that's where your faith carries you through. So that at the end of reasoning comes in faith. And that's an area that becomes extremely difficult when you want to regulate. It's a space that is extremely dicey. And I believe that's why the organizers dedicated 2 days to discuss nothing but this particular freedom. I want to believe that it is out of the realization that it is a very sensitive and dicey topic. But I'm happy, I've just been informed that at the end of this session, there's going to be a declaration, meaning you have managed to crack this whole subject. And I cannot wait to see what has been put together that will help us be able to better the space where people can have the freedom of religion and also the freedom to believe in whatever they want to believe. As a country, we are keen on building and strengthening partnerships and collaborative initiatives between Parliament and other key stakeholders, including religious organizations within our national development agenda, a democratic process, social cohesion, as well as peace and reconciliation endeavors. I therefore challenge you all to utilize the valuable experiences gained here, exchange of knowledge and network established in this conference to not only advance the discourse on the right to freedom of religion or belief, but to extend the effort to all other fundamental human rights and liberties that guarantee human dignity and all-inclusive development agenda for the benefit of every human being, regardless of their faith, religion, or belief. On behalf of the government, Parliament, and the people of Kenya, I take this opportunity to thank the organizers for choosing the seat of Nairobi as the inaugural preferred venue in Africa to host this important conference. It is my hope that you have experienced our warm hospitality. After these 2 days, I hope you won't see participants and the delegates packing their bags going to the airport. You will have missed a great deal in this country. My good friend here just told me that from here he's headed to the Mara. That is the way to go. Kenya has 2 products found in one. We have the bush and we have the beach. Both of them world class. So after this conference, please take time either to go to the bush or to go to the beach. Either way, you will enjoy your vacation. So I wish you journey masses as you travel back to your countries and destinations. It is now my singular honor and privilege to declare the 4th International Parliamentary Conference officially closed. Thank you.